What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Richard West here with Punisher Red Band issue number 1. This is a brand new series from Marvel, and boy does it live up to its name, so let's just get into it. So this story immediately opens up with Punisher surrounded by a bunch of dead bodies, fire, and covered in blood. And we get some narration that speaks to his situation a little bit here, and shows immediately why it's going to be a little bit different from any other Punisher series. So he sees red. Red is all he knows. He doesn't know where he is, when he is, or even who he is. He's just a body that's been shot in the back of the ear, the upper arm, and the thigh. He knows just from the swelling alone, along with the lingering pain and smell of sulfur, that this gunfight had to have happened within the past 10 minutes. He knows he's holding an Uzi with a 32 round mag, and he knows that it's empty. And then we see this gorgeous single panel page that says, all of this he knows, but not his name. And you can just see from this, it's gonna be like classic Punisher Max, like gory material that it feels like Marvel rarely puts out anymore. This is like return to the classics, and I love it. As Frank Castle navigates through the corpses, the narration continues. These people are dead, and he is not, but their bodies mean no more to him than fish in a hold. He's lost more than a liter of blood, and he can feel his heart struggling. The boat's burning, and his lungs are filled with smoke. He cannot stick around, but he needs to understand why he's here. Which, by the way, here in a minute we'll find out exactly who this boat belongs to and why he's there. He then looks under a crate and sees over 500 bags of fentanyl powder. He almost immediately closes it, stumbling and losing his balance, trying his best not to pass out again. Just then, he hears sirens, and police boats pull up, and even without his memory, even without knowing who he is, just instinctively, like yanking a hand away from a hot stove, he reloads the clip and fires straight at him. And after he's done firing, turning off the sirens, they fire right back, aiming to kill. So he runs, but not because he's afraid, but because he can't get captured or killed. And we see him dive straight into the water as it continues. The only thing that matters is the work that he must do, the work of the blade and the bullet. He lives so others may die. We then jump straight to the morning where cops are on the crime scene after the boat's done burning. Detectives are digging into the case, and just then we're introduced to the detective on this scene, Detective Pluto, who says, they're all burned to shit, but I recognize the grills on this one. I've busted him before. He runs with tombstone. There's no way the fire is what's killed him. Look at him. Tell me about the gunman. And one of the men on board the ship says, it was dark, detective. There was smoke. I understand, she says. You thought you were here to help some folks. You didn't know you were interrupting a mass murder. Next time you'll do better to expect the worst in people, she says. And then walking off the scene, she says, so we got half a dozen corpses and several million in product in the hold. Burned, soaked by fire retardant, ruined. You don't just get away with something like that, she says. There's going to be retribution, and if we don't put a stop to it, we're gonna be cleaning up quite a mess. Because anybody who knows anything knows you don't f with Tombstone. And then we see Tombstone himself with all of these gang members on meat hooks interrogating him by saying, I'm gonna make something perfectly clear. You're not getting out of here alive. The best I can offer you is a quick death, which is better than the alternative. And he brings out a meat cleaver. He then goes up to one of the gang members and starts skinning his forearm, saying, I can take you apart piece by piece. And as the blood gushes out, this gang member screams out in pain. No one able to hear him from outside, and Tombstone continues, there are 5 of you, from 5 of the gangs most likely to fuck with me. All I need is a name. Who the fuck killed my crew? Who's the bitch who destroyed my shipment? Who's the bitch making a bitch move? Just then we jump over to the shores of Brooklyn as an old lady chases down her dog, who's running up to Frank Castle's unconscious body laying in the sand. And as it starts licking his face, it wakes Frank up. He spits out a ton of water that was inside him and then throws up some more. The old lady instinctively says, he's not dead, and starts pulling at her phone. Let me call someone who can help. Frank rips the phone away from her, and she says, you need help. You need a hospital. And he chucks her phone into the water. No hospital, no phone. Take me to your house, he says, grabbing her wrist. And surprisingly, she does. She starts up a bath for him, loads his bloody body into it as he starts rattling off items that he needs. Vodka, tweezers, lighter, needle, and thread. Hurry. And as she comes back with all those things, she takes a look at what his back looks like. Oh my, she says, this isn't the first time you've been hurt. Are you a bad person? Should I be afraid of you? And she hands him the vodka. You know what? I don't want to know the answer to that. Here, I don't drink the stuff, but it was my husband's. We then get a montage of him sipping the vodka, dumping it on his wound, holding the end of the tweezers to the fire from the lighter, and pulling the bullet out of his wound. Later on, we see Frank up and moving around out of the bath after the old woman stitched him up when he passed out once again. As he stands over the sink, looking himself in the mirror, he hears her over his shoulder. What's your name? She asks. It's only right you tell me. I've let you into my home and I've helped, haven't I? God knows why. Mine's Judy. What's yours? And Frank, looking down, says, I don't know. You don't know? She asks. How's a man not know his own name? He then rubs the back of his neck. Guess that's what happens when you get a bullet in the brain. And she stands there, confused, still holding her dog. But you didn't get shot there, she says. What are you talking about? And we see stitches on the back of his neck. You passed out, just like you said you would, she says. I went to sew up your head, but it was already done. Somebody's already fixed you up real good. And just then we realize that the source of his amnesia might not have been the fight, but the fact that somebody messed with his head. It's someone implanted something inside of him. Immediately, he cries out in pain and falls to the floor. Judy panics and says, what's happening? What's wrong? And then we cut away to see who's doing this, and we find Kingpin sitting at a computer in a dark room saying, all right, Frank, you've rested long enough. And we see a little chip that he's put in the back of Punisher's neck, and he clicks a button that says activate Punisher, saying time to go back to work. Judy helps him off the floor, saying, are you okay? Please say something. And looking up, fury in his eyes, he asks, do you have any guns? Awesome, simple, return to roots first issue for this series. I am hyped up. Punisher really isn't even one of my favorite characters, and I'm not like a big Punisher Max guy. I'm not one of those like early 2000s Punisher comics dudes, to be honest with you. But this just feels so old Marvel, and I love it so much. I am so excited to see this, see what Marvel does with it, and it's already starting off so interesting. We have to see why Kingpin's doing this. We have to see why he's going after, I mean, we can probably assume why he's going after other criminals like Tombstone, but I'm curious how it's going to play out. So if you want more videos like this, let me know down in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know if there's any other comics that you want me to do here on this channel. Subscribe to the Patreon, link in the description below, or become a member for early access videos. We just put a bunch of them up on Patreon. That is the video. Thank you for watching.